Hey, everybody, welcome to Behind the Mic. I'm Nina Taylor. I have a very special guest all the way on the West Coast, where I'm sure it's still good and hot. His name is Tony Mercedes, and he has such a rich history in the entertainment industry. I just couldn't wait to get him on the show. How you doing? How you doing, Tony?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Glad to be on the show.
Why don't you take us back? I want to know the entire Tony Mercedes story, like where you grew up, how you got interested in music, all that good stuff. Can you share all that with us?
That's a long story, but I'll give it my best shot.
Okay.
So yeah. So I was born in Germany. Uh,
Really?
yeah, in Nuremberg.
Military baby?
Yes, my father was in the
Okay.
military,
Okay.
and my
Okay.
mother is Panamanian, so I was raised overseas in Panama. And
Okay.
a
Okay.
lot of people don't know, but Spanish was my first language.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved to. I think I moved to we moved to New York in in 1976, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Uh, and
This is
I
your
was
family came back from Germany and you all went to New York.
yeah, because I had family in New York. If
Mm-hmm.
you know your well, let me give you your Jamaican history. So
Okay.
my family's Jamaican, but
Mm-hmm.
when there was no work in Jamaica, a lot of the people migrated over to Panama because
Mm-hmm.
they worked as fishermen in the Panama Canal. So that's how I was raised in Panama, and we were one of those families. So um, so yeah, so when we moved back to the United States. My father was still trying to figure out where they were going to station him at. So we all kind of went to New York to just be with our other families in Brooklyn. So as soon as my father got his orders, we then moved to a place called Augusta, Georgia. There was a fort called Fort
Mm-hmm.
Gordon in Augusta, Georgia. So
Yeah.
I kind of went to school there at a school called Glen Hills High School. And when I was young, I used to always have dreams of being somebody in the music business. So took a shot at being a DJ. I sucked. I was horrible.
You
I
mean
was,
like spinning or
yeah, I was trash, right? Um, so, you know, I then, I worked believe it or not, I worked in the nuclear power industry. I was the first black quality control inspector for a company called Bechtel and DuPont back there in a place called Savannah Riverside or Plant Vova. I worked in both of those places. But even though I was making great money, but it just didn't satisfy that inner thing inside you when it's like, man, God definitely got something better for me than this.
Mhm.
And you got to understand back then, when you're, 19, 20 years old and you're making like 40 something $1,000 a year,
Mhm.
30 years ago, that's a lot of money.
That was a lot of money. Yeah.
Especially, because I was the only
Hmm.
young man in that city that had a Mercedes. Actually, I had two Mercedes by the time I was 24.
Hmm.
That's where the name Tony Mercedes comes. So
Can I ask what your actual birth last name is?
no, because you could work for the government or the
Uh,
IRS. We're gonna leave that one right there. We're gonna let that stay right there.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, um, but to make a long story short, so I had a record called Daisy Dukes. Because I think by 25 years old, I bought a teen club. I had a teen club called Club Mercedes out of Augusta, Georgia.
Hmm.
And these two kids walk in and they got this record and they said, "Hey man, can you help us with our record?" So I'm like,
Hmm.
"Okay, well, let me hear it."
Yeah.
And it was a song called Daisy Dukes, right? So fast forward, I go into the studio. I like the record. I recut the record, make it sound better. I put a little bit of money in it,
Hmm.
and so I take it to every record company. I drive to Atlanta. I meet with every record company.
Okay. I was going to ask you, you were still in Augusta at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
all told me
Okay.
no, no, no. Matter of fact, I actually should have some publishing and some writers on that Beyonce "No, No, No" song because I heard that so many times. I figured she must have wrote that song about me.
Really? No, no.
Yeah, that's all I heard was no from every company.
Okay. Okay.
And then I went to radio. Pretty much got the same thing. Well,
Hmm.
they're a local artist, and I'm like, damn, every major artist is a local artist somewhere.
Hmm.
So I didn't really understand the ideology, but that was the business, and I'm trying to figure out how to maneuver and get into it. So
Hmm.
I go from there to after, like I said, getting rejected by everybody. There was a music conference called Jack the Rapper, and
I
you remember Jack
remember
the Rapper?
that. I
Yeah,
remember that in Atlanta, right?
it
Was
was an
that
act.
like the first big hip hop?
Yeah, but it was in Florida that year.
Okay, okay,
Um,
okay.
and so I can't afford, I ain't really got no extra money to blow, so I can't afford to pay for the registration. Um, so I figure out how to maneuver. I find a back door to get in, and I get into the hotel, and there's a room called Tracking the New Stars. And that's where, you have a panel of six experts, and they critique your record and tell you whether you got something or not. So
Mm-hmm.
I get up there and say, hey, can you play? Can I get on the list?
Mm-hmm.
The lady very politely says, I'm sorry, the list is closed. We have all those CDs you see on the table. We have to play all those. So she said, I'm really sorry. So I said, okay. Me being the kind of guy I am, I look at the table, I see these CDs with rubber bands and stickers on them, with numbers. And I'm like, man, well, I pick up a CD, I, you know, I look at it, I take their CD out, I slip my CD in on their number, and I throw their CD in the trash. Right? Yeah. So,
Uh-huh.
um, they're they're they play the record, right? And I'm nervous now. I'm sweating like R. Kelly in the daycare center. I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, right? So one of the panelists says, "Whose record is this?" So I raise my hand. She says, "Well, stand up." And at that point, I think, man, I'm about to be on. Yeah, they're about to give me my flowers, and I can smell them right now.
Yeah.
And she says, "These are the kind of records we tell people not to make." Yeah, she said the record it's a regional record. You
Yeah.
need to go back to the drawing board and do more of a national record because this record is a regional record.
Yeah,
You'll
this
probably never leave the state of Florida. And I'm like, wow. I mean, if I could have just disappeared, I would have because I was so embarrassed in front of
oh yeah.
all
Oh
a
yeah.
room full of people.
Mhm.
And she just threw me under the bus like it was like it was horrible. So it's so bad my lips is dry from just thinking about it. Hold on a second. So sorry. So yeah. So at that point, I'm like, you
Uh-huh.
know, I got one more play. I
Mhm.
had a relationship with James Brown's granddaughter, I'm sorry. So I asked her to set me up a meeting with Mr. Brown, and she set up a meeting with the Godfather of Soul, and I'm in his office, and I'm saying, Mr. Brown, I need help. I
Mhm.
said, I got turned down by every record company. Radio won't play the record. I just got embarrassed at Jack the Rapper.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking about starting my own company, sir, and just any advice you could give me, I'd appreciate it. He told me, he said, you think they're not going to let no Negro have no record company, son? You can forget that. In his James Brown voice, he said, "You
Yeah.
can get it, son. They're not going. That's not going to happen, right?"
Uh-huh.
So I leave there, and I'm just defeated at that point.
Yeah.
But then about a week later, I wake up and I say, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna put this record out myself." So I ain't have no real money, so I borrowed $1,500 from my father. My
Mhm.
ex-wife Bonnie gave me $800, so I had $2,300. And I took that 2,300 and we had gross sales of over $15 million on that record.
Wow. And this was your first record?
First record.
Hmm.
Now it's funny, the my distributor filed bankruptcy on me, owing me millions of dollars. So I always tell people, the record business was a learning experience. I just wish y'all told me how high the tuition was because I paid the cost. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I learned about the business. I learned the record business.
Hmm.
So fast forward into now, I always tell people I've never been in the music business because I'm in the business of music. It's two different businesses. You get what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So, but that was just the first record, and I went on to do more crazy records like "Let Me Ride That Donkey" by 12 Gauge, "My Baby's Daddy," "Splackavelli," "You
Hmm.
Know You Ghetto," "Who Dat" by JT Money out of Miami, 8 weeks #1 on Billboard. I put together the deal for TLC, and I found the No Scrubs records. I own publishing on that. And Ed Sheeran used part of the melody from No Scrubs, so I own a piece of the Shape of You record, which has probably a little over 6.5 billion views on YouTube. I don't think there's another record that can touch it, no, even come close to it.
Hmm.
And I just been kind of doing my thing. Thank God I've been self-employed for the last 35 years, and I'm thankful for that because, you know, I you know, I lived this life my way, you know, and I when they went on to do some pretty incredible things, you know. I went on to manage Tiffany Haddish. I helped jumpstart her career. Matter of fact, I'm executive producing her next kids film called Guess Who's Adopted, which I originally wrote and came up with the idea. And so we're going to do that. She's going to produce it,
Hmm.
and it's just things have just been really interesting. I have a new movie with Cuba Gooding Jr. called Dog Patrol that drops in November. So y'all look out for that. Make sure y'all support it if you don't mind. Just if you
Yeah,
see
I
it,
checked out your social media, and you have a lot of people on there, like Aaliyah. Uh,
yeah, I always tell people, you know, because people always say, "Man, but everything you done, man, you don't have a blue check. You're not verified." I said, "Nah, but I think go down to Bank of America. I think yeah, I'm verified over there." So that's kind of my take on it. But it's been interesting, you know. And right now, I'm just enjoying
Mm,
life. I just released a record the other day for an artist named Roxanne Luciano. It's called "You My Ex," which
mhm.
is it's like the breakup anthem of the year. I think it's gonna be.
Now, did you write that song too?
I did write it. Me
You
and my
my
partner,
ex.
right. Huh?
You said you my ex.
You My Ex. Okay, true
Yeah,
story. The artist is my daughter, and she was going through a rough time
yeah.
with a breakup, and she was like really down.
Hmm.
And the the hook is "You My Ex." Can I curse on this here? Not curse, but
Just go ahead.
well, the hook is "You My Ex nigga." Now I'm looking for my next nigga. You know, so that that's the hook, which
That's
is
in the song. Okay.
yeah. So and it's just pretty interesting. Um,
Hmm.
pretty interesting. You know, I have
And this
a
one just came out a week ago.
it came out October 2nd.
Okay.
I have a record called "Dropping the Hammer" coming out October 7th.
Hmm.
Then I have another
Next
gospel record.
Tuesday.
I have a gospel record called "God Don't Play About Me" that comes out October 10th.
Hmm.
And then by Tally Rogers. And I have the kid from American Idol, Kanan Hill, who sung gospel music on American Idol.
Hmm.
His record, we got a single called "More Than a Church Boy" that I wrote that comes out October 20th. So we
Hmm.
staying busy, man. We're trying to stay booked and busy, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So many great songs and artists that you're working with now. Now Telly Rogers, she sings with John P. Key.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
she is
He
the
has
big
some great
sister.
singers.
Yeah, she's the big sister of Tim
Mhm.
Rogers. And
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, that's her baby brother. And
Yeah, well, I'm waiting to get her on the show too.
yeah, you know,
Great.
yeah, she we definitely got to make that happen for sure real soon. But yeah, you know, like I said, you know, things have been, you know, it's never easy. You know, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
But well, you know, I stay, you know, I maintain positivity because I always tell kids that there are no unsuccessful people in the music business, just those who quit before their time. So if that's my advice to you, I have to take the same advice. I can't quit. So,
Mhm.
you know, I'm just going to keep going on and, you know, I'm taking on new projects and we just trying to make things happen. I'm getting more into the writing and production aspect of it because, you know,
Yeah,
you
that's what I was going to ask you. What do you prefer?
know
Music
what?
or movies better?
I like movies better because it's, you get to write something and you get to see it played out.
Okay. You
You
get to
know,
see your creation in front of your
you get
face.
to see your creation and you
Uh-huh.
and and it's just amazing just knowing that this started off on, you know, 90 pieces of paper and then you're watching a whole full movie with music and you know sound design and just lights, cameras, action, the whole nine. It's like you wrote that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good feeling that goes along with that. So I'm enjoying it. I moved from Atlanta to LA to make the transition from radio records to film and TV. So
Hmm.
I'm having fun, you know.
Really, you didn't think that staying in Atlanta, you could make movies? I mean, a lot of folks are making movies in Atlanta.
Well, you got to understand, I've been in LA for 23 years.
Oh, okay. So it's
So when I left, there was really not
that's
much going
before it became Black Hollywood,
on.
right?
Right.
Okay.
Um, but I still think that, um, you know,
Hmm.
Los Angeles offers opportunity that Atlanta doesn't. So,
Like,
well, like I can walk into the grocery store and bump into Denzel. I'm not going to do that in Atlanta. You
Okay.
know, I mean, every day I'll see somebody that I see on television because that's just this is the you know, the,
Well, I got mistaken for Queen Latifah in the Atlanta airport once.
wow.
I said, what?
Well, she's never looked as beautiful as you. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
I said, excuse me. And this was
right.
a European lady. So, I said, maybe I do look like her. Nobody had ever said that, but
Yeah,
she thought that I was.
yeah. No,
There's I mean, a lot of people, especially the gospel, are really moving to Atlanta or have moved to Atlanta. There seems to be a lot going on in the music industry. What advice would you give somebody who today, like today, they want to be in the music industry? Do you think it's feasible as it was 23, 30 years ago?
well, it's interesting because we were just talking about that. Music used to be an elite club
Hmm.
of super talented people,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
Now it has turned into a popularity contest.
Hmm.
So, case in point, if you can do something and whatever you do goes viral, next thing you know, you can make a record because you went viral. And that means a lot of people like what you did, and it could be something very stupid that has nothing to do with music, but you're a viral.
But then,
So now
yeah,
they
you
put a
make a
record
record
on.
and everybody, because of your sudden popularity,
Right.
you think,
So,
wow, I
you know,
didn't know that.
I mean, like, there's a lot of people a lot of rappers that honestly they should be rapping Christmas presents or sandwiches instead of rapping. I'm just keeping it real. But because the consumer is so forgiving now, and they don't really, they're more. It's more of like I said, it's a popularity contest. So I
Mhm.
don't think that just there's a whole lot left in music because nobody wants to pay for music. We all think it should be free. And I can ask you right now and ask you, hey, when was the last time you actually went and bought a record or downloaded a record?
Well, I've been in radio since I was 19.
So,
So with the exception of a couple that I couldn't get, I really
right.
have never bought music.
So,
And
and that's the thing. So I don't really think
yeah,
that
yeah,
viable entity at this point. I mean,
yeah.
you have okay. Let's put it in perspective.
Hmm.
In the world, uh, the Spotify releases 120,000 records per day. Okay,
Right,
now
yeah.
let's take that 120,000 records per day times 30 days in a week. You're looking at 3.6 million somewhere around there, right?
A
Per
month.
month,
Yeah.
per month, right?
Hmm.
So you're looking at about what 40 million per year, somewhere around there.
Hmm.
Yeah, 10 times 3.6, 36. Yeah, somewhere around 40, 40, 41, 42. But there's only room for the top 20 on Billboard.
Hmm.
So what the chances of you having a successful record is like a lottery,
Hmm.
right? And for the independent artist, well, if you're undercapitalized and you don't have the connections, then you have this great record, but no one ever gets a chance to hear it because you don't have the finances to push it,
Hmm.
you know. And people don't realize that it costs between 150 $200,000 to promote every single. Well, I
Hmm.
don't know too many independent artists that got 200,000 sitting around.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because out of those all these independent records, there are hit records that just never get see the light of day.
Hmm.
So I always put it if I put it in a sports term, it's like you have a better chance of getting drafted to play for the Los Angeles Lakers, having never dribbled a basketball, than you do being a successful recording artist.
Oh.
Because the NBA
Hmm.
recruits about 270 to 300 players per year. How many different recording artists, how many new recording artists do we see on the charts every year? Maybe one, maybe two. Everything else is pretty much the same. So think about how many basketball players play in college and how many make it to the NBA.
Yeah.
So you got about 300 that'll make it to the NBA
Hmm.
out of those millions of basketball players.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that same thing with respect to recording artists, how many make it to the top 10? One,
Hmm.
maybe two.
Well,
So,
10.
so when you look at it from that
Yeah.
perspective, if you're a numbers person, it's simple math.
Yeah.
You have a better chance having never drilled a basketball to be drafted to the Lakers as opposed to being a successful recording artist. So think about that when you get into it, you know. Uh, but that doesn't mean that you can't be that exception. See, I'll tell you two at the same time
Hmm.
instead of trying to blend in. Like I said, the more you try to blend in, less chances you have of standing out, right?
Hmm.
So, and maybe I'm not the best person to give advice because I've seen.
You're realistic.
I'm a realist. Like I'm not gonna sit
Yeah.
there and tell you that if you put your mind to it, we can be anything we want to be. That's some words, and they're inspiring, but that's just not how this business works. There's a lot of politics, a lot of red tape, a
Hmm.
lot of BS that goes on behind closed doors.
Hmm.
You know, shoot, I ain't gonna lie, I've been a pimp some days and I hold the others. You know what I mean? Like it's that's how real the business is.
Yeah.
You know, and you know I'm not gonna sit there and tell you that I've had you know great experiences. I mean, I've had some good ones, but I'd rather have the money that was stolen from me than the money I made.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
like I've written a book one time. It was called Reversing the Game, and I never released it because one of my children decided to want to get into the record business. Because had I released it, they would have blackballed her for sure. And one of my promos was I was sitting in this all white room with all these records behind me, and I walk up and I look at a record and I smile and like I remember this.
Mhm.
And I take that record and I smash that record on the ground. Then the camera comes back to me and I say, I know many of you are wondering why I would just smash this record on the ground. And my response to you would be, would you hang a picture of the person that raped you on your wall? And then boom, reverse the game. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yes.
Well, I'm just looking at admiring your wall. I see a lot of gold and platinum records. Can you tell us a little bit about those? Some of your big
Um,
successes?
yeah, like I was involved with like I said, TLC.
Yeah.
I'm the reason they have the song No Scrubs.
Mhm.
Song Whoop, There It Is. I'm the reason that that song got released because I put their deal together for tag team. Daisy Dukes was, my baby. That was the first one, My Baby's Daddy with another crazy record that I did that
Mhm.
was started off as a joke. We were playing around, and next
Mhm.
thing you know, who that is, that ain't nobody. It's just my baby daddy. And that just went this way.
Mhm.
Um, uh, that's just, I had this song, Who That by JT Money. Who that, who that, who that, who that, who that, who that, who
I
that.
remember that.
Trying to get it in my crew. We went 8 weeks number one on Billboard. I mean, it's just, I sold about 130 million records in my career.
Wow.
About five, maybe six number one Billboard records.
Mhm.
Um,
Now, do you
but
have any Grammys or?
two Grammys.
Wow.
Yeah,
You should
yeah,
have wanted to show me.
yeah. Yeah, that's on the publishing side. So yeah,
Okay.
you know, um, uh, yeah.
Beautiful. What are some of the other awards you've got?
I got ASCAP Song of the Year awards, BMI Song of the Year awards.
Mhm.
Uh,
You said
what else?
mhm.
I just got this the other day. Haven't even put it up.
The other day. Wow.
Yeah, about a month or so. This is a BMI award for Dochi. You familiar with Dochi?
Mm-hmm.
What it is? What's up? That. It's called What It Is Block Boy. Yeah, got that. Um,
Uh-huh.
but
They send those out when what it goes gold, goes platinum.
um, well, at the BMI awards, I mean, the Pop Awards or the R&B awards, if your record does a certain number of
Yeah, that's what I'll say. If it
sales,
goes
yeah,
gold or
yeah, they just recognize people, publishers and writers that
yeah.
have a record that's changing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the key to the city, and Augusta, Georgia. You know,
Oh,
yeah, got the
oh,
key, but what good is the key if it can't open up the Krispy Kremes? You know, when the light's not off. I mean, I should be able to get in every business with that key, but it doesn't open up anything. So, you know, one of the highlights of my career, I spoke at UCLA. I spoke at, I think, Duke University as well.
mhm,
This is Duke. Well, my brother-in-law, Dwayne Sutton, I spoke at some college he was a professor at. So I
mhm.
think, I don't know. He might have went to Duke. I don't know. Maybe. Don't get me in line, but I did speak at UCLA.
Okay.
Uh, and you know, right now I'm just, you know, kind of preparing for the next venture of my life and
hmm
what that's going to look like. So,
The
um,
two movies with Cuba Gooding. What's the movie about?
well, it's called Dog Patrol. It's about a small knit community in the called in Big Bear, which is in California,
Hmm
and it's about a store owner who was part of the New York mob, and he fled after a jewelry heist because he wanted to start his life over. And they tracked him down. They called him on the phone. He died of a heart attack, and he left his toy store to this young kid.
hmm
Um, and there was a key to a safe that had all the jewels. So the mob comes to Big Bear, and they're trying to find
hmm
these jewels. And there's a dog named Athena, and the keys. The key. Athena was the store owner's dog. So he left the store and the dog to the kid,
hmm
and the dog had a key around his neck, and that was the key. And a bunch of riddles to figure out how to get. You know,
Now, is this a comedy or
it's a
what?
family film. It's a kids'
Okay.
family film, and it's got some comedic moments in it. Yeah.
hmm Is it gonna
So
be in theaters or Netflix? Or...
no, it's gonna be like your Hulu's and Primes and possibly Netflix. We're still negotiating with a bunch of different companies, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm excited about that. You know, yeah. So
Who would
uh,
you like to work with? If you could pick up a phone and say, "Hey, let's do something," who would that be?
um, you know, that's not my that's really not my thing.
Really?
No, my thing
Mhm.
is I'd rather work with an artist that has 12 followers, but I think he or she has just potential.
Okay.
So I don't get caught up in the, you know, I'm
With
working
the
with so
star.
and so and I could
Yeah.
kill,
Yeah.
you know, let me work with somebody who's deserving of it. A
hmm
kid that, or somebody who may not, nobody's paying attention to. You get what I'm saying?
Really? Okay.
See, there's joy that comes from that, saying that, you know, another person's trash is, I turn it into my treasure and we created something special, you know. So that's my thing. You know, anybody can work with an established artist and have a hit record.
Yeah.
That's easy. But you want to get my respect, show me that you picked up somebody who had no following, no engagement, no
hmm
nothing. You went to the studio and you wrote and created just some records, and all of a sudden now they are the talk of the industry. Then you get my respect. You know, I know it probably sounds a little screwed up, but you know,
I understand. I understand. You want to make a star.
I
Now,
want to.
you were working with some of those artists. They weren't huge stars yet. Some of the TLC might have been already.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
see, like
hmm
if you look at the TLC record, so what
hmm
makes that record so interesting was
hmm
I walked into a studio with and I saw Candy and Tiny from Escape,
hmm
and just they wrote the record. So I passed by the cubicle and I'm like, yo, whose record is that? So Candy says that's me and Tiny's record. We started a new group called KAT, Candy and Tiny.
hmm
And I said to Candy, I said, listen, no disrespect, but this record is bigger than a startup group called Cat.
Yeah.
You can't just decide you want to start a new group. That ain't how the business works.
Yeah.
So I said, you should let me take this record to TLC. And Candy's like, TLC ain't finna do our record. I said, Candy, let me do what let Tony do what Tony does. I said, you ain't got to trust me, just trust the process. I said, because if things go the way I think they can go, this could be life changing. And if you look at Candy's life today, with the millions of dollars that she makes,
Mhm.
you're looking at it's Tony. I gave her that life
Wow.
because of me being smart enough to say, let me take this record and
Yeah.
let me make a play over here.
Mhm.
That's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I,
Wow.
yeah. And if you follow people like Rockstar who did half of Chris Brown's record, you'll see a post where Rockstar will say Tony Mercedes was the first one to ever give me a check.
Mhm.
He said, "Hey man, I believe in you." And he said, and that's why he's my guy to this day. See, that's to me, let me have that. Forget because I did a record on Alicia Keys, that means zero to me. No disrespect to Alicia, I love Alicia, but
Yeah.
give me
Mhm.
Rockstar who nobody knows, and
Mhm.
he's just a kid with a dream. Let me help him make that dream come true by
Mhm.
saying, "Here, I believe in you. Let me write this check. Let's go to work."
Awesome.
And that's what I've always done.
Mhm.
My whole career. I mean, I worked with this little young kid, 9 years old, named King Moore. Right?
Mhm.
He has over 1 million followers now. He will be, and is to this day, the youngest entertainer to ever receive an invitation to speak at the White House from a sitting president. I made that happen.
Wow. What president was it?
President Biden.
Okay. Awesome.
President Biden walked
Mhm.
in. Matter of fact, I have a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Biden. From
Really?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
a medal in his signature. I'll show it to you. I can pull it off the wall. Hold
Yeah,
on.
go ahead. Pull it off the wall. Let's check it out. I wish you'd get that Grammy so I can see that.
I don't know if you can see this, but
Wow, I can see it. I see it. And
yeah,
Mr. Kamala. Oh, yes.
yeah,
Awesome. That is awesome.
Lifetime Achievement Award. So that's special.
Yeah.
You know,
So, wow. I mean, you're doing so much. You're working in the gospel industry now.
you know that.
You mentioned
I
Cali already and the
Yeah.
wedding.
I'm working. I look at it this way. So
Hmm.
when I tell you I've been blessed, and I know I've been blessed,
Yeah.
um, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "To whom much is given,
Yes.
much
Much.
is required."
All right. Yes.
So I think God tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You owe me, right?
Ah,
So
yeah.
I need you to make these records happen.
Yeah.
I need you to do something for
You
the
take that
king."
and sprinkle a little bit this way.
Yeah. So I'm just paying a debt,
Yes. Yes.
and at the same time, I'm learning that you know walking walking with God ain't so bad. You know,
Hmm.
you know, and living by His word ain't so bad. As the older you get, you realize the things that are truly important. And,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
Hmm.
so I think it's interesting times. That's all I can tell you because I'm seeing and saying things that I normally wouldn't say. Like I, you know, find myself opening that book up and saying, "Let me see what else is in here."
Uh,
So I've been living on the other side for a long, long time.
mhm.
But the question I always, people are like, "Well, how you worked on the gospel record? You're not religious." No, I'm not religious because I don't really do church. I'm more spiritual, but at the same time,
Mhm.
what's more important to the kingdom? The Christian that's afraid to knock on his next door neighbor's door and say, "Do you know who Jesus Christ is?" Or somebody like me that will put my money resources into a project that is uplifting the kingdom. You know, so that's kind of how I make it make sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
well, are you going to start a label? Do you?
I've had a label since I started this business.
You've had a label? Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't really think that there's no money in music in the
Starting a
music,
label.
but
Mhm.
you know, again, I don't, I'm paying it forward. I mean, I've been blessed, so it's time for me to bless some other people.
Mhm.
You know, and if that means put out a few records and knowing that they might not sell as much as we did back in the day, I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. You know,
Yeah. So, how does a singer make money other than touring?
but that's you have touring, you have merchandising, you have
Hmm.
so many things outside of the actual music.
Outside the actual music. Okay.
Yeah, you have publishing royalties,
Yeah.
right? Um, so so when you look at it from that perspective,
Hmm.
don't get into the record business and be concerned about how many records I'm gonna sell because you can't beat them white boys at that game. Okay, instead of 40 acres and a mule, they're gonna give you a big house in the Benz as long as you give your masters to the master. So that's a whole nother conversation. But
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
that's one.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
so, but get in it because it's something that you love, something you're passionate about, and you believe that you can make a difference. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, because if you sell a lot of records, that means when you're on the road, you're making a lot of money, and
Mhm.
that money comes in a boatloads. You know, I mean, it's like I remember when Cardi B was making 500,000 a night.
Mhm.
Every night, and they were working 20 days a month,
Mhm.
right? How was that? $20 million a month, somewhere around that. 10 million a month, somewhere around there. You know,
Mhm.
that's crazy. Like Taylor Swift makes $10 million almost each show.
Mhm.
So, so, so there's money there. You know,
So
uh,
basically, the music gains your popularity, as you
yeah,
said, and
yeah.
then that's what gets you on the road, and that's how you make money.
I think you use your music as a conduit to get your fans to connect to you, and then
Hmm.
you can sell them a $20 T-shirt that you paid $5 to make. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
That's the only way to look at it. Forget how many downloads you got on iTunes. It don't really matter. They're gonna find a way not to pay you anyway.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, they're gonna. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I, I remember going back to Daisy Dukes. I'll never forget it. Um, I got my first statement, and on this statement, it said I made $5.4 million,
Mhm.
but it said I was still negative 200,000.
Why were you negative?
That means that I I hadn't paid back all the money that was spent to make for the record.
Oh, okay.
Which
Well, that's not really bad. If you made 5 million and you only had to pay back 200,000, that's not that bad.
no, no,
Hmm.
no. Give me here. We had 5.4 million that came in terms of sales.
Hmm.
But the reason that I couldn't get a check is because I was still negative 200,000
So you had to make another 200,000
just
to
to break even.
ah, okay.
Right? But like I said, I still became a millionaire.
Hmm.
Um, I made my first $1 million, and I was still in my 20s, right? And I've been just doing my thing ever since. Had good days, had bad days. But I learned that um, it's important just instead of working down to a dollar to always try to work up to a standard. So that's what I've always done, and that's what I tell people to do. Tell artists, hey man,
Hmm.
I'm willing to put the work in out here. Don't come out here because remember those 120,000 records that get released a day. Those people, they're all they're chasing the same dream you're chasing.
Hmm.
Those who get rewarded are probably the ones that work the hardest. You
Yeah.
know, you know what I mean. A lot of us, they think I'm just gonna put the record out and tell me, well, I ain't got no money to promote it. Yeah, but you got $250 tennis shoes on,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
You could have bought an ad on Black Gospel Promo if you're a gospel artist, or
Hmm.
you could have, bought some Facebook ads or some Instagram ads.
Hmm.
You know, you got this nice chain on. I see you rocking. Them Louis Vuitton glasses. See, I look at everything. You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
because you got to be willing to put it all on the line and hope and pray that you get a return. That's how real it is. You know, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. And a lot of people aren't. They're not afraid. They're afraid to put their own money up. You know, it's like uh, I'm a gambler, right? Like I
Hmm.
gamble for real. I mean, like if you ever Google Tony Mercedes World Series of Poker, you will see that I'm in they
The World Series of Poker.
World
Okay.
Series of Poker. So I gamble for real, but I also gamble in life when it comes to anything that I get involved in. And as an investor, I don't invest in projects. I invest in people. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Projects come and go,
Yeah.
but I need to know what your character is.
Hmm.
And I heard something really really cool the other day, and I think it came from David Banner, and he was talking about. Um, he said, "I don't do business with men who cheat on their wives, right? because if the person that lays next to you every day can't trust you, then I can't. There's no way I can trust you. And it was really deep, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, and it's probably why me and David never did business back in the day, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, now that was interesting, you know.
yeah. Make you think.
But
Yeah.
like I said, this is the only business that you can be broke in June and be a millionaire in December.
Okay.
This this is that business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sounds good. Is there anybody that you, business wise, in the music industry, is anybody you kind of was mentored by or?
yeah, I was mentored by
Mhm.
a girl named Janice Burley. Janice Burley Black.
Mhm.
She worked at Motown and she took me under her wing and
Mhm.
she would invite me to all the conferences and I would go with her and she helped me. Uh, she introduced me to the people. And then Betty Wright, she was my mentor. She helped me secure my first record deal
Mhm.
and she hand walked me through that. And um, so I'm thankful to Janice and Betty and I guess it was two other ladies, Libby Anthony and Barbara Thomas. They're both gone now, but actually Betty, Libby, and Barbara are gone. But those women, they helped the young kid with a dream, and I wouldn't be where I'm at without their help. Especially James Burley Black, because she was single-handedly was the one that said, you know what, I help you, and she did. So I'm forever indebted to her for the rest of my life.
Awesome. I knew it had to
So
be.
listen, behind or beside or in front of every powerful black man, you will find a powerful black woman. I was looking at a post the other day, and they were talking about Barack Obama and Michelle Obama,
Mhm.
and they went into a restaurant, and somebody said, "Hey, the owner would love to have a word with Michelle Obama,
Mhm.
right?" And then when she came back, and Barack said, what did he want?" She said, "Well, believe it or not, he was a guy that I dated back in the day, and we were in love with each other."
Whoa.
Barack says, "Well, just think, man, if you married him, you could have been the owner of this restaurant."
Mhm.
No, if I married him, he would be the president of the United States.
Ooh, come on.
So, right, powerful black woman, man. Like
Yeah.
my, I am who I am. I have what I have because I've had the support of just some extremely powerful black females who
Mhm.
extended the olive branch to me and said, "Hey, I got you." And I'm even to this day. I mean, I just, you know, I'm I know where my strength come from. You know,
Awesome.
so shouts out to all the powerful black women that are inspiring black men just to do better. So thank y'all. I
Awesome.
mean, look at your show. I mean, think
Mhm.
about how many people you give opportunities to that don't even acknowledge the fact that, hey, man, I put you in 22 countries, right? I put you in 22 countries.
I think they know.
So, you know, so I'd rather give you your flowers now than wait for you to be anything happen to you and for me to say, man, she did X, Y, and Z for me. And I'm telling you now, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
You.
being the
You.
epitome of what you know, class, a classy black woman, black businesswoman looks like and acts like. Yeah. So
Mhm. Awesome. Well, that just warmed my heart, right? Well, Brother Tony, obviously we can talk all night. Do you have like a way that people can find out about your upcoming movies, how they can connect with you, your company?
only thing I tell you is just you can find me on Facebook under Tony Mercedes. On Instagram, I think I'm Tony Mercedes 3000, and uh, every now and then you might find a picture of me in the post office for most wanted. But other than that, but no, I'm easy to find. Just Tony Mercedes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we want to see the movie, your movies that are coming out. So
Uh, Again,
I'll
just
be looking for that.
I appreciate it. Dog Patrol comes out November 21st,
Okay.
starring Cuba Gooding
A
Jr.
holiday movie.
It
Perfect.
a holiday movie.
And we'll all be at home just watching TV and eating. So
There you go. There you go. So listen, Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
And
much.
it's been a blessing. And I hope that your listeners got a chance to learn something that they can take and apply to what they're doing and increase their opportunity or their chances of finding success. So
Awesome. Thank
cool.
you so much.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.